So, of course, the big story is the ceasefire, but for us, even a bigger story is Pakistan's role in making that ceasefire happen. Today, Pakistan is in many ways on top of the world, and it's a good feeling. We should enjoy it because our country actually deserves it. The way that we have actually managed to stop this conflict, which could have escalated to a level where we can't even imagine. So, a great job, Pakistan, and of course, the challenge is now that this ceasefire translates into something more durable. Let's have a detailed conversation on where things could go from here. I'm joined by two of my colleagues. They've been looking at the story very closely, reporting on it also. Absa Komal is my first guest, Pakistan's well-known anchor and journalist. And I always emphasize the word journalist because not all anchors are journalists in Pakistan. Absa is one of them who's a solid journalist. So, Absa, welcome.
Thank you.
And also, welcome to our show and our channel for the first time.
Thank you so much. And congratulations to you for starting this show.
Thank you. Congratulations to us, because my other guest is my colleague Kamran Yusuf, who is also an anchor at our channel and, of course, write for the Express Tribune, has been covering the story very closely and has, in fact, been quoted all over the world for his reporting. So, Kamran, welcome and actually well done for an amazing job that you've done.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you.
Thank you so much.
Absa, feels good today?
Absolutely, absolutely. Every Pakistani, I think, has been looking at these developments very closely.
Yeah.
And I was actually also watching these social media posts also, because now, I mean, public pulse can be also seen through the social media. So some of the Pakistanis are kind of showing off their Pakistani passports on international media. So definitely, I think all Pakistanis here and abroad are feeling very proud of the role Pakistan has played.
Absolutely. And you must also be enjoying the memes that are all over the place where people are celebrating Pakistan, and I'm specifically having fun at the expense of one of our neighbors on the east side, which now is sulking and is irrelevant and is not at all happy.
Absolutely, absolutely. Pakistan is in the headlines for all the right reasons, and I think in the past we have only seen Pakistan in bad headlines internationally about security, terrorism and all of that. And I think this is one thing that Pakistani experts have been focusing on as well, that we need to show the world the soft power of Pakistan. So Pakistan today is being highlighted as a peacemaker in the region. I think this is something that the Pakistanis are really happy about, and this definitely changes the perceptions about Pakistan that were built by India especially and their lobbies abroad. So,
Kamran, of course, you know, a good day to be a Pakistani today, and I think our leadership has done very well. They kept this entire process very closely guarded for understandable reasons. You can't have, as somebody very rightly said, that the very fact that there weren't too many leaks meant that something solid was going on. So I think that was important. But you've been covering it so closely. Was it touch and go at the end?
I think first of all, you know, as a journalist, usually we need to control our emotions, but as a Pakistani, certainly it is a proud moment, because I believe, you know, since I started journalism or read history, I don't think so that there was one instance where Pakistan is mentioned across the world in a positive way. I don't think so. I cannot recall any instance before. Of course, that we do hear stories of like Pakistan, you know, helping US and China, you know, rapprochement, all those things. But this is, I think, something special.
Yes.
And the second thing, of course, that how Pakistan handled this entire process, again, you know, staggering and remarkable. I think all the stories or the leaks that were coming from usually Washington and Tel Aviv, but Pakistan, on the other hand, as a true mediator or a facilitator, really, I think, played very well. I think because if there were premature leaks or another good thing about how Pakistan really handled this, usually previously we saw that even if we were not playing any role of a mediator or a facilitator, our previous experiences that we usually boast our role. But this time, actually, these things were coming from the outside.
Yeah.
Our leadership was not claiming. They were very reluctant. You know, even I tried my level best, all the contacts that I had, they were very reluctant to share those information. They were saying, look, that we are only, offering our good offices, we are facilitators. They were even reluctant to call themselves as mediators.
Yeah.
So that is again a different, I think, story, that we were not boasting our role. This means that we meant business.
Yeah,
Acknowledge
exactly.
that.
And I think I agree with you. I mean, at least in my lifetime, since I'm far older than both of you, I can say that I can't recall of the kind of global success that Pakistan is having today or has had today before that. And it's actually, it's a really, as you said, that it's a day to feel good about it. Tomorrow is going to be another day.
Yeah.
Friday will be another day, and there are so many upsides, there are so many other challenges which remain. When Americans and the Iranians come here, it's a difficult negotiation, definitely. And we don't know where it could go. But regardless of where it goes, the dividends that we have reaped today will remain with us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that is the maximum Pakistan could do as a responsible country in the region, and we have done it. Now, whatever happens in the future, because there are spoilers,
Yes.
Israel has already started attacking Iran, and Lebanon, also Lebanon was part of the ceasefire as well. And now Netanyahu is also saying that he does not agree with the terms. I mean, in a way, he's saying that he does not agree with the terms. So we do not have an official statement from Tel Aviv of how they're looking at it. There were news by the American media that till last moment Netanyahu had been pressurizing Trump to keep this war and not go for a ceasefire. So I think that is one thing, but this is the maximum Pakistan could do as a very responsible country. I'm Fasab also looking at it as a domestic in a domestic context. Which is that we have only discussed in my lifetime, again now I would say, Pakistani civil and military relations. We only have been discussing it in terms of their differences when it comes
Yes.
to foreign policy and other national policies. So this time it is a great combination of Field Marshal Asim Munir and the Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, and Shehbaz Sharif's team again, Foreign Minister Ishaq Dar, Pakistan's Foreign Secretary, who's played a very important
That's a
role.
very good point.
So I think this is overall a great team which kept this all the negotiations and everything discreet and did not overestimate the role Pakistan was playing, and it was done very gracefully. Just yesterday when Prime Minister issued the statement, it looked like a very synchronized statement, when right after that White House issues a statement and then Iran also kind of welcomes Pakistan's
Very maturely
position.
done.
Yes, it's
Very
very
maturely done.
and gracefully done.
Yes.
Foreign relations, and we did actually.
We had to really tread a tight rope. In fact, Kamran, I was just thinking of a movie, and we've all seen that, Mission Impossible. And in one of the movies, I forget which one, Anthony Hopkins was there, and he turns to Tom Cruise's character and he says, it's not mission difficult, it's mission impossible. So this was mission difficult, bordering on mission impossible. And three people were leading it, as Absa correctly said, the Prime Minister, the Field Marshal and the Foreign Minister. And we were seeing their roles through the information that was coming out. How would you describe how they synchronized their movements, as Absa very correctly said? There was coordination, there was synchronization, there was civil-military relationship, which is always a negative. It's a great point, which was, completely turned into an advantage. So the relationship between these three important people, how did it play out in the final result that is in front of us?
Well, first of all, I think you gave a reference of a movie. I think whatever has unfolded and unfolding, it's, I think, unreal. Given the fact that just a few years back, if anyone bet on this thing that Pakistan would be playing a peacemaker and in a way averting a potential third world war, I think it could be a good TV script. Even if it was a TV script, I think few people would believe, because you had to some connection with the reality. I think how Pakistan played here, I think there were multiple channels. One that we have seen on the face of it, leading by Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, reaching out to relevant parties, then a Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister. But I think far more important channel that was going on, that was at the level of intelligence and the military. I think the advantage that the Pakistan had, that we had this unique position. We maintained quite close relationship with the United States. Again, we had quite close ties with Iran, and actually since the last Iran-Israel conflict, we did have difficult relationship with Iran in the past, but I think the positive role that previously we played, that played a huge role in removing those trust issues.
One thing that we can't wait for, Afsar, on this very special day, is to make fun of those who always look down upon us. And I don't know whether you would like to do that, but I would. When I look at Indian people, journalists sitting in their studios like this, I call them clowns because they do a lot of comedy. Today, India is irrelevant. And even if you look at their own social media, a bulk of them are either grudgingly saying that yes, Pakistan has done very well, or they are cursing their own government for their bad foreign policy and where they've ended up. So I know today is a special day. We are talking about serious things, but I think I just have to tell you how I'm deriving a lot of satisfaction seeing the meltdown on Indian social media and the fact that the hubris and arrogance that they have displayed over the years is now collapsing like their FLs.
Absolutely. I think arrogance is the right word you just used. I think this meltdown on Indian media is continuing since last year when Pakistan won a war against them.
Yeah.
And this is the Indian media and their diplomats who have been saying that Pakistan is now irrelevant after, especially when the US forces left Afghanistan. So, and we saw a patch of where Pakistan was not engaged by the US during the former government time, and it was a talk of the town that Biden is not calling us.
Yeah.
But and it was also a question when Trump was taking charge again, that how Trump will see this leadership in Pakistan. So this is all very, again, very surprising for the Indians, and I'm seeing that meltdown on their television channels.
And are you having fun seeing that?
Absolutely. I think they kind of have always, they were seen as, they do not have the credibility after the India-Pakistan war, as they've been exaggerating the state narrative, and Pakistani media stood out at that point also as way more professional. So I think this also was a coordination between the state-kept Pakistani media updated, and they were going for the fake news and the propaganda. So yeah, it's understandable, but yeah, there are also naysayers locally. People with their political point of view are also trying to not accept it as a win for Pakistan. So there will always be people like that. But yes, in Pakistan and in generally abroad, I've seen some comments by senior Indian journalists who are calling it a big Pakistani diplomatic win. I must quote one Wall Street Journal reporter, Sadanand Dhumi. I just saw his social media Twitter message where he says this is a big diplomatic win for Pakistan and a lot of isolation for India. Jay Shankar, the foreign minister of India, he many times he's been saying that India has this speciality of balancing their relations with all these countries. So after how Trump kind of took them with their relations with Russia, this I think is the second time when he's proven absolutely wrong, and we've seen his frustration through his comments.
Absolutely. Kamran, last 30 seconds. What do you see happening on Friday? What are the preparations? What is the government planning? How will Friday pan out?
Well, already there are signs that high-level delegations are coming to Islamabad because security is being tightened here, and we have to understand that obviously this is not the first time that Iran and the US are talking to each other. Previously, they held negotiations, but this time at the senior level, we are given to understand that the Iranian parliamentary speaker, who is very influential figure within the Iranian setup, is coming to Pakistan, then the US Vice President J.D. Vance. So my own understanding is, of course, that both these will not stay here in Islamabad for a week, or they will be here for a day or two. So I think while as we speak, I'm sure that there must have been some work is already underway.
Absolutely.
And the hope is by the time they meet, most of the homework is
already
done.
Yep.
So they somehow reach some kind of a deal, and we may have a chance to
Or
celebrate
at least the
more.
beginning of a deal.
Beginning
if
of a
not
deal.
the final
So-
document, at least
so
the
this
beginning
is a
of a deal.
serious, and he was in Hungary, the U.S. Vice President, and he said that President Trump told me and the other team that you enter in those negotiations with good faith.
Yes, so that's
we
a
are
good thing.
entering the negotiations with good faith.
Which is a good
so if
thing.
Iran responds, we are definitely going to sign.
Great.
Just one thing to conclude what I was saying. I think with all the celebrations and happiness that we naturally have today, we also have to think how Pakistan can use this limelight for our own economic
absolutely.
advantage. That is one thing we have to
Absolutely.
look at this point. And again, the bigger question, if a long-term peace can be achieved or the spoilers will try to affect this process. So these are the two questions that we are looking at
Absolutely,
this
very
point.
important. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us.